Hi, dear language learners. Today, let's talk about something really important about the Everyday Nano method. As you know, the Everyday Nano method leverages social psychology to have you speak with unshakable confidence. And I want to actually focus in exactly the core, which is this speaking with unshakable confidence. That is actually about developing your voice print in your target language. It is so central. And after watching this video, you will just understand so much better how this is developed and how this is central to language learning and how it actually accelerates your fluency. Alex. I am the author of the Everyday Nano Method that you can find on my website. I will link it down below. And also, I'm a polyglot. I speak 4 languages fluently. I'm actually studying my 5th language at the moment. And I'm a social psychologist. And I've realized a number of years ago, actually, after studying my 3rd language, that there is so much to the social psychology of human interaction. If you know that, how it works, you will just become fluent in so much less stressful experience. You will actually become fluent more, I don't want to call it effortlessly. It's still an effort, it's still work, but you will become fluent faster because it's more about you tap into this natural process of acquiring a language. So on this channel, I actually share with you these gems of social psychology so that you can use it for your own study routine to actually become fluent in a faster, more joyful, more emotionally intelligent way. So let's dive today into the voice print. What does it mean and why is it so important to develop your voice print in the new language? And this is, I think in all of my previous videos, I have always included that element of repetition. It is so important that you start to play that instrument that you're learning, so that is your new language, from the very first day. You need to, even if you're at an A1 beginner's level, you need to start speaking out loud as soon as possible everything that you learn. So, for example, if you start Spanish, you cannot go to lesson 2 without knowing how to say hola, ¿cómo estás? And you need to speak it, you need to repeat it. And repetition really means, what I do is when I cook or when I go for a walk with my dog, I repeat that out loud. Even if other people might think, oh, what is she doing? She's talking to herself. Doesn't matter. You need to repeat it out loud. Only in that way you will develop your voice print. And why is it so important? What is the voice print? The voice print means you develop your unique token of feeling, of character, of your social identity. As always, I will leave the scientific references of the research that has shown this in the description. You develop actually a social identity with your new language, which means by speaking it, you are completely feeling in a new way about yourself. And please drop me a comment, those of you who speak more than one language, if you confirm this in your own experience. I mean, to most of the polyglots I've spoken to, everyone confirms to me that in any other language you speak, you feel different. You have a different feeling of self, a different sense of self, a different character, a different sense of humor, a different way of sense making even. Like for me, I think completely different in French than I would in Spanish, even if they have shared roots. Some things are similar, but the way in which I go about certain things, or would I make jokes in certain situations, are only possible in one language, if you know what I mean. I mean, my favorite example is in French. I so much love to say, c'est du n'importe quoi. And this doesn't exist in the other languages. It's a way of sense making that fits certain type of situations. That yes, you can find a similar expression. This doesn't make sense, for example, but it's not the same feeling you have with it. And also, it gives you a different manner of expression that you wouldn't feel in the other languages. Please share a comment if you have experienced the same. I'm so interested if you have the same experience. And also, so this social identity actually is developed in your sense of self, but in your sense or in your experience of speaking. This is why I recommend to you strongly, whenever you study a language, even in intensive study sessions that you might have for your next exam or for your school or for your work or for changing countries, please include in any lesson or at the end a little tiny nano element of a social experience, some conversation or talking to yourself, or do it like I do. If I don't have another human being to talk to, I talk to ChatGPT or any other of your favorite AI tool to practice your first of all your feeling. How do you feel about yourself when you talk in a new language? How do you hear yourself? Do you feel comfortable? How do you make sense of certain situations? What would you typically say? What is your go-to phrase when you are excited, when you are when you want to say that you are so sad about something? You need to develop that in talking it out loud. So I have developed a new routine now, in addition to of obviously running this channel together with you, is when I walk my dog, I actually listen to a short nano element of an Italian lesson, and then I speak it out loud. If there is other people around, I then speak to my dog in Italian to make it not look that weird, if you know what I mean. But actually, it doesn't matter. I mean, most of us nowadays speak into their phones. So please feel free to share with me how do you go about repetitions when you study languages, because I think that's also the fun part of revising and kind of practicing your new identity in the new language. And now the third point I want to share with you about the Voiceprint that you develop over the years when you study a new language is that this has nothing to do with accents. Your Voiceprint can have a very strong accent of whatever other language that shines through. It doesn't matter. An accent is normal. Every human being on this planet has an accent. There is some elephant in the room of language learning that there is the native speakers that don't have accents and then those people with accents. It's just not true. Native speakers have the native accent. That's an accent. It's accent just means the way in which you pronounce something. So every person can be rooted to their lieu of résidence. How do you say that? To their to their living point. Please help me out. What is the word in English that I'm looking for? Lieu de résidence. So where they live, basically. Every human being can be linked to their place of residence by their accent, how they speak. It just means they have lived a number of years in that place. And so they have tuned into their way of speaking in that place and they sound like that. Also, of course, from your mother tongue, you have certain ways in which you have learned to pronounce certain vowels, certain consonants. So that shines through in other languages, and that is your accent. So the Voiceprint actually doesn't mean eliminating accents. That is very important. Voiceprint means you develop your own sense of identity in a new language and sense of feeling comfortable and confident. So articulating doesn't mean eliminating accent or the way in which you normally form a consonant. So for example, if I now have an accent where all my other languages and especially my mother tongue shines through, so be it. This is my way of tuning into the English language and being able to communicate with you. So this is so important. Developing Voiceprint actually is a way of going into fluency and developing that confidence, because you start hearing yourself in a new language and you start feeling, oh, that is me in English. Oh, that is me in French. That is me in Arabic. That is me in Chinese. You need to get comfortable with that. And so the repetitions, the speaking out loud and having a nano element of speaking in your everyday life practice, rather 30 seconds per day than nothing, that is how you grow into fluency. That is so important. And as always, I invite you to share your personal experience on this channel, because YouTube is fantastic for shared experience and for exchanging about how we go about these adventures we have in our life. So thanks as always for watching today, for having spent that time with me, and see you in the next video.